Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here we have my latest purchase, which is a 2003 BMW 316 Ti. So this was the E46 chassis lineup, and the Ti was the compact version. It was made to compete with the Volkswagen Golf, and this was BMW's answer. So I've recently got this car. The aim of it is I'm going to clean it up. So it needs a really good detail. It needs a full service, and it needs some love being put into it. And I hope to show you the results of when we're done. So it's done 58,000 miles. It's had 4 or 5 owners since new, which at the end of the day, it's a 23-year-old car. So I'm not too overly concerned about that. But I'll take you around and I'll show you with what we've got and what we're going to be starting with. So we have the 7-spoke wheels, which are very dirty. So I'll be taking the wheels off the car and cleaning the wheels inside and out and behind them. All around the car we've got Pirelli tyres, which all have good tread. So it's rather straight down this side, but as you can see here, there's obvious signs, as you can see, that this car has not been washed properly for a very long time. So this is all algae build up in between the glass and the trim. So we'll be cleaning all that. So the usual filthy signs as well inside the filler cap. As you can see, it's not been cleaned in years. But it's rather a straight car. The rear parking sensors at the minute, when you put the car in reverse, they auto engage, which is correct, but they're just staying on, and I have a feeling I already know what the issue is. So when we look closely at the parking sensors, I don't know whether the camera can make it out, but the trim, the black trim strip is misaligned, and it's actually going over the parking sensors. So it's basically thinking something's in front of them. That's probably a bit more obvious, which isn't the case. So I'll be taking that off and realigning it all up and checking everything's working. Coming around to this side, as you can see, rather straight, and there's been a bit of a scrape here in the front. This actually looks a lot worse than it is. This is actually rubber marking, so polish, a bit of compound will take that out nicely. And again, I'll show you. There is a bit of a dent. I will hopefully get my paintless dent removal guy to knock that out, and you shouldn't be able to see anything after that. So the rest of the car is pretty nice. There is some slight lacquer peel, as you can see, on the bonnet. I probably will have the bonnet repainted just to freshen it up completely. All the glass is original on the car, but inside is very dirty. It really needs a good shampooing of the carpets. Leather needs rejuvenation, cleaning. I'll probably take all the seats out and clean them outside of the car to get all in the crevices. But there's nothing too untoward really. A good detail and a good clean will clean it all up. It has a very good service history, this car actually. It's been stamped all of its life, and it's had very frequent oil changes, but as you can see, this will all come up very satisfying once cleaned. And then here we go. Again, all algae everywhere. You can tell this car's been sat for a while. Yeah, this side's dirtier. And here obviously we have the engine bay. Again, it needs a really good detail. It's never been cleaned throughout its life. Where there's a lot of grime in all the crevices. And in fact, this is probably a drain and it's being blocked, so that needs to be unblocked. But on the whole, it's a very straight car and a good service and a detail, and I hope to share with you the end results once we're done. So as you can see now, although it's dirty, we've sucked away all of the debris, leaves, dirt, algae as much as we can across the engine bay. So now we're ready for using a brush with some diluted all-purpose cleaner, and we can scrub away all the dirt and grime. I don't like to really put water near the engine bay for obvious reasons, because it can disturb with the electronics, but I will be using a brush, some cleaner in a bottle, and being able to brush away the dirt and grime, and then usually a damp microfiber will wipe it off. So that's the whole engine bay sprayed with super degreaser and agitated with a brush. And now I'm about to rinse off the areas which can be rinsed, and then just with a damp microfiber wipe over the areas which are more sensitive. So I will not be putting any water in this area here because the box on the right houses all the electrical connections and wiring, and this module just here is the ECU, which is the engine control unit, so you do not want water to get anywhere there. But other than that, if you're very careful, you can rinse the rest of the bay down, and then afterwards we will do the inside of the bonnet. So let's see what we end up with. Right, so that's the whole of the bonnet sprayed with degreaser and agitated with a brush, and I will rinse this off again and I'll show you what we're left with. So as you can see, after spraying super degreaser on the engine bay, agitating it with a brush, and then rinsing with water, this is what we're left with. It's already quite a staggering transformation from where we started. All the oils and all the grease have simply gone now. And then at this stage, this is when I'll go around the whole engine bay with some microfibers. I'll dry it off and then usually start the car and get it up to operating temperature, just so that any residual water or moisture can be allowed to dry. But as you can see, it is quite a difference already. And anyone can do this if you have the patience, the time, and the satisfaction you get out of it when it's done is there's no feeling like it. As a result of your hard work, you see the results pretty much instantly. So always start from the top really when you're drying. Common sense, because you don't want water to fall from above. So start from the top and work your way down. Something I will say is I'm not looking for a showroom finish. So if some residual grease is still present, I'm not too worried. I just want it clean because it was quite frankly disgusting before, and I just want it nice and fresh. And I also want to say that in the washing stages with the brush, you know, if you're not satisfied with how it's coming out, you can repeat that stage as much as you want till you get the result you're looking for. If it's still dirty whilst you're just repeating, I would then look at changing the solution you're using, the cleaning solution. So either increase the dilution rates, so make it more concentrated, or change the solution entirely you're using. Perhaps you need something a lot stronger. But always, like with anything, start weak with a weak solution and work your way to a stronger solution. You know, out of good practice, you don't want to go to the strongest solution or cleaning chemical you have when you don't need it. Not only are you wasting it, but you're also potentially damaging the surface you're trying to clean. So take it easy and just work your way bit by bit. But as you can see already, just after drying, I'm very, very satisfied with this result. As I said, the car's 23 years old, but if I can get it looking just fresher and cleaner, I'll be very, very, very pleased. I still need to do a service on the car, but quite frankly, I won't be making a mess. Some people, when they service cars, they do make a mess. I'll be very careful, draining the oil, changing filters. If need be, I can hoover out any debris in that plenum filter box. But it was just so disgusting, I had to do something. So the weather now is rather nice, and in the UK you have to make the most of it. So hence why I'm doing this way round, so at least the car will be fully detailed today, making the most of the weather, and then I can service it as and when. That can always be done indoors as well. I may, once I've serviced it, treat the engine to some trim dressing, just to make it look a bit more presentable, and also protect the plastics. But to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of super shiny engine dressings. It just looks awful. Even this, how it's come up, will be perfect, to be honest with you. But if need be, you can always use an engine dressing or a trim dressing after this, once it's all dry and you're satisfied with the results. Just take your time drying, and also if you've missed places when you've cleaned, like here, just use the microfiber to gently rub. I don't think it's safe to say, I think this engine bay has never ever ever been cleaned in its whole life, so it's done it the world of good. Also, another really good thing to use on engine bays, believe it or not, is baby wipes. They're very cheap. You can use one, when you're done with it, bin it, use another, and it's very, very safe. Obviously, you're not destroying anything. They're safe for babies, so they're going to be safe for your car. Um, and if you're really worried, you don't have to. Obviously, with this method, you're using water, but if you're very worried, you can use just baby wipes and keep it very, very localized. I mean, I don't have to say much more than that. I'll show you now the results, but it speaks for itself, really. So as you can see, we finished cleaning, drying. It's quite staggering, the difference, really. You wouldn't think it's the same car. Same thing with the bonnet on the inside. There's no grease anymore. So yeah, just a simple wash and clean can show you really what it can do. So the engine's on now, as you can probably hear. I'm just going to begin by cleaning this wheel. So I'm just spraying some Maguire's wheel cleaner. You spray it on a dry wheel, this one, and just let it sit for a bit. And what you should start seeing is the wheel will bleed. So it reacts with the iron on the wheel and it will bleed, and then we can start agitating it with a brush. So that's the wheel all cleaned. So I sprayed Maguire's wheel cleaner, and then I noticed it wasn't clean enough. So I had a stronger chemical and I sprayed that and agitated it with a brush and then rinsed it off. And as you can see, it's come out really nice and clean. So I'll rinse and repeat on the remaining 3 wheels and then we will tackle the body. So now what I'll do is, as you can see, all this dark part inside the wheel arch, it's all dirt and grime. So I'm just going to get the jet wash and literally rinse all of that and it will be in a much better shape. So bear with me and I'll show you the afters. So as you can see, the end result is an immaculate wheel arch. So those black dots are just stubborn dirt and grime and tar over the years. I'll be honest with you, from experience, it's very difficult to remove that. It's not detriment to the car, but you can just see it's left a nice finish now of the underseal on the car. So that's how I'll be leaving it. So I have jacked up the car, as you can see. So we'll be doing the front shortly as well, and then I'll be repeating that on the other side. As you can see now, you're left with just the underseal stone guard coating from the factory. It's nice and clean. There's no dirt, no grime, just the factory finish on that. And then we'll get on to the exterior now. So after spraying degreaser and brushing, as you can see, and rinsing away, we're left with a really clean finish. So if you remember before how it was, and now it's pristine. So it always comes out really nice. And this is why really I tend to do exterior first and interior, because it's inevitable you end up covering the interior with water and you get bits of debris inside. So I always start with outside and work my way in. But it's all come out really nice. All the grime and the algae's all disappeared and you'd never know it's there. As you can see, the end result, well, the video speaks for itself really.